Good morning. Minnie Crockwell here. I have another channel called Minnie Does Arizona. It's kind of taken a direction of its own. It was supposed to be about me moving back to Arizona. About 2 years ago, I moved back full-time to the state. We used to come here when I was a child. We used to go to Apache Junction and stay at the Superstition Inn. And then we would go back home where my family was living overseas. My parents were American, but working overseas. When my dad lost his job, we kind of moved through Apache Junction to Scottsdale to Phoenix. And then I did some time away in both California and New York as a child, as our family was all over the place. The children were all over the place. The parents were everywhere else. And then I joined the military, to see the world, and they sent me to Tucson. So those were a couple times. I call them a couple times. It's probably more about living, more than twice living in Arizona. I went away for years in the military, and even when I retired, I moved to Washington State, where I had been stationed once. I loved the weather there. I loved the cloudiness and the tall evergreens. I loved Washington, but I did leave it a couple years ago for other reasons. Not that I didn't love the state. And I did about a year in Virginia, a couple years in Virginia, I guess, which, I'd already lived there. But anyway, long story short, which is impossible for me. I had come to southeastern Arizona, Zone 8B, for gardening purposes, in my RV. I'd spent a couple winters down here, and I stayed on Fort Huachuca, which is south of, it's in the town of Sierra Vista, and it's about 45 minutes south of Tucson. And I loved it here. I loved it. I loved being so close to the mountains. I did not experience that with Phoenix or Tucson, not really. First off, I didn't drive in either one of them. Nobody taught me to drive, so no driving. And I just loved being near the mountains, and I love this area. So I'm back. So that's who I am. This channel is called Minnie Gardens Arizona. Okay, that's the title. I do want you to know that I spend several days of the week either filming or putting together videos, editing videos for Minnie Does Arizona, which has morphed into a hiking, sightseeing. Here's this town, here's that town, here's this interesting thing to see. When the premise was really meant to be, hey, single little old ladies, come on down. Come on down. And I thought that's what it would be. I've taken up gardening. I took it up a couple years ago. It's not that I didn't garden in the past and buy nice, pretty things for my yards in Washington, or some impatiens for base housing in Washington, D.C., or yellow roses when I lived in Wyoming. I mean, I've done a little bit, but I never gardened. Not really. I did a little bit in Washington. I was trying to do little fairy gardens. They were real cute. But anyway, serious gardening started here. Why? Come on. Because it's so hard to grow things here. It's so hard to keep them alive. Let me say that. Here in Sierra Vista, Arizona, southeastern Arizona, Zone 8B, we experience high heats of Arizona in the summer. And during those high heats, we are also getting monsoons. Heavy rain that drowns succulents of all kinds. High winds. And I have my backyard. I'm in town. My backyard has a wind tunnel that comes sort of off the mountains, some miles away on a diagonal, and I have to garden with that. We all have these weird idiosyncrasies, right? That is one of mine. We get massive amounts of rain from about June to early October. Prime gardening here is right now March, April, May, and maybe late September, October, early November. Another thing that surprised me was mosquitoes. It is hard for me to want to be outside. I am one of those people that gets bit, and when I get bit, I get terrible, not reactions, I'm not a person who can get bit and not fuss and cry and scream and holler and itch for like a week later, scarring myself. So I have to deal with the mosquitoes. And so I have a mosquito hat this year. I've got some things I'll be using to garden. The other thing that is weird about me and gardening, and I may be digressing a little bit, is that I have to be fully clothed. Little episode of skin cancer, a whole lot of work by dermatologists and trying to save my skin. I grew up in what we call the tropics. I grew up in the Caribbean. My dad was working for an oil company down there, so I got a lot of sun, too much, and I'm paying for it now. So I have to wear long sleeves, and I really should wear something on my hands. Long pants, in between, mosquitoes biting my ankles, biting through my clothing. I'm telling you, they could be bats, I don't know. No, they're mosquitoes. I have to dress fully, and so that, again, will be another eccentricity of my time gardening. And if you can relate to that, I'm your channel. I'm the gal who you can relate to. So monsoons, excessive heat when it's not raining, great springs and falls, a dry climate. Naturally, our soil is impossible. I can't even get an auger through it. We have a layer of calcium somewhere not too far below the ground that they call caliche. You can read about it. Anyway, it's impossible to get through that with any non-commercial equipment. Last but probably not least, and maybe not even last, is the house I bought. Somebody did a lot of hardscaping on. So there are pavers all over the backyard. I'm not saying they're disorganized. I'm just saying a massive amount of the backyard is paved with paving stone. Am I saying that right? Anyway, I'm not undoing that. Whoa, that was a lot of money. So for resale, because I don't know what forever is, I am not undoing any of that. It goes all the way from my cement wall to my house. I do have one raised bed that it was in an L shape, and I went ahead and made it a U, and you'll see pictures of all that. Things grow sort of well in that raised bed, although the majority of it is against the brick wall. My sun comes directly this way. Here's your brick wall. Here's my sun. Yep. Thing down here, it doesn't get a lot of sun. Again, in the height of the summer, I don't want a lot of sun. My point about the hardscaping is I have to, and the difficulty digging is outside of that little raised bed, I have to plant in containers, which is hard to do here in Arizona because, it's hard to monitor the moisture. I either get too much or not enough, and too much during monsoons, not enough during the height of the season. And I do a lot of container gardening. I can't dig in my stuff, in my dirt, because it's just impossible. We don't really do grass down here because water is precious, so almost everything is hardscaped. We get excessive water and wind, excessive weather during the summers, all the way to fall. I gotta run around and avoid mosquitoes. What else? And I don't half know what I'm doing, and every insect known to human beings, besides one or two, made it to my yard last year. Not to my neighbor's yard, who have a northern exposure, but to mine. Do please join me on all this weirdness. I don't consider myself an educator. I'm more of an entertainer. My other channel is hopefully meant to be more entertaining or relaxing. So if I know something, I'll tell you, but generally, don't count on me to know a lot, but still, hopefully I'm entertaining to watch, or maybe you can appreciate your own situation, which wouldn't be like mine, or maybe your situation is so much worse than mine. I just hope that you enjoy the channel. You will hear cars in my videos a lot. I tune it out generally unless it's something without a muffler or something that's meant to be loud. I'll tune that. I can't tune those out, but I don't hear it too much anymore. When I'm out there gardening, I can't hear it in my videos, and I'm always surprised, like, well, that's loud. Another thing is, I'll just be honest, I'm 68, and it hurts to garden. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. Stuff is heavy, you know that. Pots are heavy, dirt is heavy. I buy smaller bags of soil, not the bigger ones, though those are more cost effective because I have to lug it. I have lugged bricks around, tree trunks around, big pots around, ceramic pots around. I'm telling you, I had to have surgery on my hand last year because I got trigger fingers. This one's a little iffy. So, if it hurts to garden, we're in a sisterhood. It's hard even to get up. I kind of remember when I first discovered I just couldn't just rise from my knees. I would fall, or sitting on a curb, just like get up. And then one day I couldn't do it forevermore. I just couldn't get up. Oh my gosh, I had to roll around and get up on my knees. Okay, enough of that. Today I'm just going to work on the videos, on editing. I've got a lot of material I've already done, and I want to do that. I just wanted to start with a hello, Minnie Crockwell. That is a pseudonym. I'm actually a writer. I write as Bess McBride. I write as Minnie Crockwell. I write Cozy Mysteries. I decided to go ahead and use that name, continue to use that name, because I respond to all of them. I've been writing for years, and all of those names are me, Minnie Crockwell. For our purposes here, call me Minnie if you like. This is my channel, Minnie Gardens Arizona, which is like a sister to Minnie Does Arizona. Okay, good talking to you. Here goes some of the videos I've already prepared for you. See ya.